Welcome back to the show, everyone. I tried to channel my inner flower, but I came up with a little bit of zebra stripes, and it's kind of mixed up around here, but it looks good with the background. The Pollinator Project is creating a demonstration with the garden centers here in Laguna Woods Village. I never really paid attention to pollination, and I'm super excited to talk to you ladies. Thank you so much for joining me, Debbie Deegan and Lola Madden. Appreciate you being here. Let's dive in. We've got a lot of slides, a lot of gorgeous photos, a lot of things to talk about. Tell us, first of all, why are pollinators so important?
Well, happy Pollinators Week. It's from the 16th through the 22nd. We're celebrating. We're encouraging everybody to go out and smell the flowers, track the bees. Pollinators, like your parents told us, our parents told us, birds and the bees and the butterflies. That's what pollinates everything. They move the pollen from the male flower to the female flower, and life begins. They're responsible for 1 in 3 bites of food we eat. They pollinate apricots, apples, cucumbers, coffee, chocolate. That's the good news. The bad news is that they are in crisis. We've lost 95% of our monarch butterflies in the past 2 decades, and over half of our honeybees in the last year.
What is causing that, Lola?
Mostly pesticides.
Oh, gosh.
We've got to give up our pesticides. There's alternatives. You know, crisis is the Greek word for change, and it's time to change.
Wow, so that's a pretty heavy subject, and probably not one that's easily reversed, I would imagine,
Takes time.
In the overall scheme of things. So is there anything internally, Debbie, that you guys are doing to combat this crisis?
Yeah, so we are starting a pollinator garden, and it's at Garden Center 2, and on the picture on the left up there, you can see just as you come into the entrance of the garden is our pollinator garden. We have 10 different heirloom sunflowers that we're trialing to see which the pollinators like the best. We've got these beautiful zinnias, and on the right, an enlargement of the zinnia that shows how the butterflies land on the petals, and then the bees and butterflies can sip the nectar and pollen. And then the next picture shows these beautiful cosmos we have a picture of here.
Gorgeous.
These are one of our favorites, the pollinators' favorites and our visitors' favorites. And we have, we've also created a native wildflower garden. And the showstopper in that garden right now is this pink flower called the elegant Clarkia. And
She is elegant.
It's gorgeous.
She's gorgeous.
And all of the native flowers are uniquely, have uniquely evolved to thrive in our climate here in Southern California. So not much rain, and basically no rain from summer into late fall. So they are they're just wonderful treasures. And then,
I was just going to ask real quick. So you're planting these flowers.
Yes.
And do the birds and the bees and the butterflies just naturally find the garden, or do you bring them in and kind of give them a little head start?
Oh, no, no need to advertise. They're there.
When we were planting the wildflower garden, they germinated, and there were ladybugs all over there. There are bees all over this garden. There are little goldfinches eating the cosmos seeds, so it's just created its own little environment there.
Gosh.
And
it kind of reminds me of a funny little story here. I'll have to interject real quick, just because I was buying a plant at Home Depot, and I didn't know when I got it home, and I put it outside, and I looked down, and there was a little butterfly.
Oh, yeah.
And I nurtured that little butterfly for about 5 days. He would hang out on my keyboard. My cat would just look at it. It was the cutest thing, and I'd pick him up and hold him, and you know, then one day he just flew away.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's
I mean, they're so sweet.
Yeah.
So, you know, and I remember, you know, well, we've got Monarch Beach, right?
Yeah.
down south, and the monarchs used to come in by the thousands, and they're not anymore.
That's right.
Yeah, Lola pointed that out.
That's so sad.
And on this slide, we have a photo of our state flower, the California poppy. And this little bee, you can tell from her little fuzzy yellow headband, is called a yellow-faced bumblebee. And we have 1,500 native bees here in the state of California.
Do we really?
1,500.
Wow.
And then the final slide I have is you mentioned the monarch butterflies, and we are creating a monarch butterfly way station. And this photo shows the beautiful caterpillar of the monarch butterfly. And I'd like to just make a point about the photos that we had of these plants. These native plants and pollinators are part of our California natural heritage. And it's an amazing heritage that we get to treasure.
Yes, for sure. So do you anticipate the garden growing? Are you going to expand?
Yes, we do. We'd like to get some more native plants, and we'll be visiting this fall with our planning team. What do the pollinators like? What can we share? What kind of information? Because another part of our project is to share information with the village about what we can all do about this crisis.
So do you know, so when the flowers stop blooming and we're transitioning into fall and winter, there's not a lot of floral. I mean, there might be succulents, but what happens to the pollinators at that time?
Well, the monarch butterflies, a lot of them go to the coast and they take a rest. That's the native migration in California. The rest of the pollinators, the native pollinators, take a rest too, because again, they've evolved for our climate. So they'll be kind of quiet and hibernating until next spring when they'll pop out. The honeybees take a rest too. You know more about honeybees.
They're all tired.
They worked for 3 months.
But I think Lola and I are here today to talk about, to invite you to celebrate the start of National Pollinator Week. And it's starting today. It's going for a week. And we'd like to give you some tips on how you can start your celebration. One of the very first things is that what the biologists tell us is that any plant that you plant that has nectar is beneficial for the pollinators. It doesn't matter if it's only one plant. It's still beneficial for pollinators.
How do you know if it has nectar?
Pretty much any of these flowers with the center there, you can see has the pollen.
We do
and
have
the
a little
nectar
critter
inside
who's
of it.
visiting us right
Oh,
now.
yes. And just ask any garden center, go and say, yeah, I'd like to plant some plants for pollinators. They'll send you to the right place. A lot of people have a lot of interest, and our garden centers are all starting to carry these plants. It's really great.
They're gorgeous flowers, too. I mean, who wouldn't want to look out a window and see these?
Yes.
Yeah.
And then they attract the hummingbirds and all the other little pollinators.
Yes.
It's a party.
It is a party.
You can plant the plants around your manor. If you have a balcony, just a pot with some herbs, and they will love it.
And so you're also hosting a wine and cheese party on June 29th from 5 to 7 p.m. Clubhouse.
In the Garden Center,
Garden
too.
Center, too.
All of the members of the Garden Center Club are invited, and everyone in the audience is invited to join the Garden Center Club and come to our fabulous parties where they can tour and see what we're doing.
And do you allow people to cut flowers at the Garden Center, or do those they kind of live their natural life all the way through? And
Occasionally we have to cut some because it keeps them blooming.
Right.
It encourages other ones.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, it sounds gorgeous. I'm going to come take a
Yeah,
visit.
come look.
That's
We'd
wonderful.
love to give you a tour.
So how do folks contact you if they'd like to either join the club? Are you accepting new members?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. And if we've got some contact information here on the slide, if members of the audience would like to volunteer, if they'd like to support us financially, if you just have questions. So look on the web, do a search for the Garden Centers Club of Laguna Woods Village.
Okay.
And I have my email. I'd love to talk to you. Just get my email address, debbie.deegan@gmail.com.
Wonderful. Ladies, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank
I
you.
really appreciate you being here and bringing such beautiful flowers.
Thanks.
Thank you for having us.
Next up, we'll take a quick look at our Monday night movie preview when we return. Stay with us.